And you also have things like other investments. It's the balance of the financial account. We also have something called statistical discrepancies. In an ideal world, if firms were keeping a balance of payments, they have records for all the transactions they get into, right? So there would be no statistical discrepancies. One of the reasons we have statistical discrepancies, some items are estimates, especially income from tourism. A foreign national comes to U.S. and they spend money here. We don't have precise records of how much money they spend here. Based on surveys and stuff, they estimate it, but obviously that's going to be estimation errors. But we also have, and this number is big, that's $40 billion. Suppose you're a drug cartel in Colombia, okay, and you export your goods into U.S. Is there going to be any official record of that? No. But that money is going to get out of U.S. Even though we don't know how much, it kind of shows up there. That's $40 billion. Quite a bit of it probably illegal transactions for which we have no records, and some of them are basically statistical estimation errors. And it turns out that uh, we have some official reserve account as well, but only 5 billion. Given the size of the current account deficits, that's only 1%. But this statistical discrepancy is 8% of the current account deficit. So if it wasn't for the drug trade, that would have been $40 billion less. I'm assuming it's most of it is, illegal transactions. Sometimes, even on legal transactions, you don't have any records of it. Do you guys know a system called Hawala system? It's also used quite a bit in financing of terrorism. Suppose I want to finance a terrorist in Afghanistan. Obviously, I can't send them money to Zelle, right? But there is an informal network. It's called Hawala, and Hawala means transfer in Arabic. I go to a guy, uh, in some town. I say, okay, I want to send $50,000 to this guy in Afghanistan. Of course, I'm not saying that I'm going to finance a terrorist. And he said, sure. He takes your $50,000, and obviously there's a little bit commission for that. And they have these people, and through encrypted communication, they say this guy named, somebody Hussein is going to come and collect $50,000 from you. I have the money here. Just pay him the 50,000. Because those two people are in the same network. It's like banking, but it is informal banking. So all of that also would show up in statistical discrepancies. I don't think there is that much with the immigrants from Latin America. 'Cause there's no legal reason why you wouldn't do that through a banking system. It may be cheaper with respect to fees, or you don't want IRS to know that you made money. So there may be a system there too. Going into details again, the current account has four major components. The goods trade, purchase on imports and exports of tangible things, a car, a computer, oil, cotton, what have you. This is services, payments and receipts for any types of services, consulting, financial services, engineering services, royalties for patents, shipping, even shipping fees goes in there, and tourist expenditures. The so-called primary income, it is largely payments of receipts of interest, dividends, and other income. So if a U.S. national owns shares of, I don't know, uh, Shell company, which is technically a Dutch company, and it pays dividends, that comes in as primary income. Or a U.S. bank lends money to a German firm and they make interest payment on that loan, that would be part of the primary income as well. The so-called secondary income involves unrequited payments. So if I send money to my parents back in Turkey, that would be recorded as a secondary income in Turkish uh, balance of payments account. So it's basically one-sided transfers. The part that is most sensitive to exchange rates is the current account balance, especially the trade balance. Uh, we've seen this back in 2008 crash. We talked about, for example, Iceland. You know, there was a big crash and the currency pretty much lost close to half of its value, but that allowed goods from Iceland to be much cheaper. Or when you go to Iceland, your dollar buys a lot more services, so it is cheaper for foreign nationals to buy your goods and services. But sometimes, to what extent current account balance is sensitive to exchange rates depends on the country. Certain imports and exports are not that uh, price elastic. Consider yourself an African country. One of the basic things you have to import, I'm assuming you don't have oil production yourself. You have to import oil, right? Whether oil prices are $90 a barrel or $40 a barrel, you're gonna have to import certain amount of oil. I mean, when the gas prices are $5 a gallon, you probably drive a lot less, especially drive for leisure purposes. But if you have to drive to work, whether gallon of gas is $5 or $3, you have to buy it. That would be an example of inelastic demand. But certain things are elastic. You know, if you're buying a T-shirt that is made in China, if the Chinese currency gains in value, suddenly it's a lot more expensive in US dollars. So you're not going to prefer a T-shirt that comes from China, maybe from Bangladesh or a US made T-shirt, if there is anything like that left. There is on the higher end, maybe on the cheaper end. Yeah. So I don't think you can buy a $5 US made T-shirt. Yeah. Uh, even though theoretically the effect should be uh, almost immediately positive, When you depreciate your currency, sometimes it takes a while. This is an empirical finding. It's called the J curve effect. Let me see if there's a graph. No, there isn't. Uh, so initially, your current account actually deteriorates instead of what you want to call improve. Part of the reason is that a lot of the deals with exports and imports that kind of made for longer term and ahead of time. So it's not that easy to respond to it. Suppose I'm Walmart and I made a deal with a Turkish company to buy 5 million sets of uh, bed sheets.